The Mississippi River, one of the largest and most mysterious rivers in America. For centuries, countless stories have been buried along its banks, some belonging to history, others to crime. On a fading evening in August 2020, local news alerted the police that something strange was floating on the surface of the Mississippi River. A patrol team approached the object, only to discover that it was a human body. An investigation began. The victim was identified as 57-year-old Rebecca Collins, a retired hospital executive, a millionaire, intelligent, and highly educated. She had spent her entire career helping people through the healthcare industry. So how did a woman like her end up dead in a river? The police arrived at her home to investigate. The front door was unlocked. They stepped inside. The house was silent. Then, on the kitchen counter, they found a handwritten letter written by Rebecca herself. It read, "I have been living a double life. I tried many times to stop it, but I knew that if I did, I would be killed. Please forgive me." This wasn't just a suicide note. It was a warning, a confession, and the beginning of a story about a trap that completely consumed a lonely, intelligent woman. Today, we're going to talk about a digital ghost that never actually existed. Yet it stole someone's savings, destroyed her life, and ultimately cost her everything. The roots of this story go back to 2018. Rebecca was going through one of the most painful periods of her life. Her husband had been battling cancer for a long time, and after a difficult fight, he passed away. A once lively home suddenly became empty. Rebecca was left alone in a beautiful house, surrounded only by memories of the man she had loved. Anyone who has experienced such loss knows how overwhelming loneliness can be. Rebecca had money. She had a successful career, but she had no one to share her life with. Like millions of people today, she turned to a solution that has become increasingly common: online dating. She created an account on a dating website, hoping she might find someone who could fill the emptiness in her life. Before long, she came across a profile. The name was Frank Borg. Frank's profile looked almost perfect. A handsome, confident, sophisticated-looking man. According to his profile, he was a wealthy international businessman from Sweden. Every message he sent was charming. Every conversation felt thoughtful. Experts who study romance scams say this is exactly what makes scammers so dangerous. They tell you precisely what you want to hear. Frank quickly recognized Rebecca's emotional vulnerability. He gave her exactly what she had been missing: attention, affection, and the comforting feeling that someone genuinely cared about her. Within just 12 days, Rebecca had fallen deeply in love with him. It's important to understand something here. Rebecca wasn't gullible or uneducated. She was a successful professional who had managed complex healthcare systems for years. But romance scams don't target intelligence. They target human emotions, loneliness, grief, and the desire to be loved. Those aren't weaknesses. They're simply part of being human. And scammers know exactly how to exploit them. As their relationship grew stronger, Rebecca repeatedly asked Frank to speak with her over a live video call. But every single time, Frank had another excuse ready. Sometimes, he claimed he was on a business trip in a remote part of Ghana, where the internet barely worked. Sometimes, he said his camera was broken. Other times, he blamed an emergency business meeting. The excuses always sounded believable. But one pattern never changed. The video call never happened. This is one of the oldest techniques used in romance scams, commonly known as catfishing. The scammer uses real photographs, but the photos belong to someone else, someone who usually has no idea that their identity is being used to deceive people. Later investigations revealed that Frank Borg had never existed. The photographs Rebecca had fallen in love with actually belonged to an innocent doctor living in Chile. His pictures had simply been stolen from the internet. By then, Rebecca was so emotionally invested that she either failed to notice the warning signs or chose to ignore them. Because once people become emotionally attached, the mind naturally starts searching for reasons to justify the relationship. After earning Rebecca's complete trust, Frank slowly revealed his real objective. He told her about his company, Goose Investments. According to him, the company could double people's investments within a short period of time. He sent Rebecca a link to a professional-looking investment website. It featured dashboards, graphs, account balances, and daily profits. Everything looked completely legitimate. Every day, Rebecca watched her investment grow. And with every passing day, her trust grew stronger. This is a classic psychological strategy used in investment scams. Victims are encouraged to invest a small amount first. The fake platform then displays impressive profits, not because any real money has been earned, but because the numbers on the screen are completely fabricated. The goal is simple: build trust until the victim is willing to invest everything. Rebecca began transferring her life savings, first her fixed deposits, then her savings accounts. Eventually, she even borrowed against the value of her own home. Over the next 2 years, she transferred a total of $1.5 million to a man she had never even met in person. Eventually, Rebecca asked Frank to return her money. That's when everything changed. The loving boyfriend disappeared. In his place came threats. Frank told her that if she wanted her money back, she first had to help him complete several business transactions. At this point, the story took an even darker turn. Without realizing it, Rebecca had become a money mule, someone whose bank account is used to move illegally obtained money. Frank was actually connected to a large international scam network. The group targeted victims around the world through romance scams and other online fraud schemes. Money stolen from those victims was transferred into Rebecca's bank account. She would then send it to other accounts as instructed by Frank. Rebecca had absolutely no idea that she had become part of an international criminal operation. In her mind, she was simply trying to recover the money she had already lost. This is one of the least discussed, yet most terrifying aspects of romance scams. Victims don't just lose money. Sometimes, without even knowing it, they become part of the criminal's money laundering operation. That puts them at serious legal risk, and the psychological pressure becomes almost unbearable. In August 2020, the FBI uncovered evidence of the massive financial fraud. As investigators followed the money trail, they eventually contacted Rebecca's daughter. Their warning was chilling. Your mother is in serious danger. But by then, it was probably already too late. Rebecca had finally realized that the man she believed would become her life partner was actually the face of a dangerous criminal network. She now lived with two overwhelming fears. On one side, she feared being prosecuted because she had unknowingly become involved in money laundering. On the other, she feared the criminal organization itself, people she had never seen, but whose threats felt terrifyingly real. Under this crushing emotional pressure, Rebecca wrote one final letter. She got into her car and drove away from home. 2 days later, her body was found in the Mississippi River. As investigators dug deeper, the truth became even more disturbing. There was no Frank Borg. He had never existed. The identity had been created by an organized cybercrime group operating from Nigeria and Ghana. The group created fake profiles on dating websites and social media, specifically targeting people who were lonely, grieving, or emotionally vulnerable. This wasn't a coincidence. It was a carefully designed strategy. Lonely people are often the easiest targets for romance scammers. Rebecca's daughter continues to seek justice for her mother. But her mother's death is more than just a personal tragedy. It is a warning for the millions of people who continue to trust strangers they meet online. Rebecca's story teaches us an important lesson. The digital world has made it easier than ever to build relationships, but it has also made it easier than ever to steal someone's identity, break someone's trust, and destroy someone's life. If someone claims to love you online, but constantly avoids video calls, if they repeatedly ask for money, whether for investments or emergencies, don't ignore the warning signs. Rebecca wasn't the only victim. Every year, thousands of intelligent, educated, and successful people around the world fall victim to romance scams. These scams don't target your intelligence, they target your heart. If you, or someone you care about, is involved in an online relationship that exists only through messages, and money has become part of the conversation, ask questions. Friends, if you like the video, please like, share, and subscribe our channel. Thank you.